As part of the present administration's efforts to curtail the spread of coronavirus COVID-19 ravaging the country and the world at large, Edo State Ministry of Education, in collaboration with Edo Broadcasting Service (EBS) and Academic Staff Union of Secondary Schools (ASUSS, is organizing a television program for students in senior secondary schools, particularly those writing the West African Senior School Certificate Examination (WASSCE), the National Examination Council (NECO), and National Business and Technical Examination Board (NABTEB) for the year 2020 in the months of May, June, and July. The program will be held on EBS television channel every day from 12 noon to 1 p.m. beginning from Monday, April 6, 2020. The subjects selected for these programs are Mondays Mathematics, Tuesdays English Language, Wednesdays Physics, Thursdays Biology, Fridays Geography, Saturdays Civic Education and Economics, and Sunday Chemistry. Parents and guardians are therefore advised to draw the attention of their children or wards to this opportunity during the stay-at-home period.
Viewers and students, I am Mr. Tom Isian, tutor for the subject Geography, and the topic we are going to be discussing is weathering. Weathering is a common phenomenon that occurs on a daily basis. You must have observed that when we are passing through the street, we see cracks on the rocks, and we also see holes that are being dug by animals. We now ask, what is weathering? Weathering can be defined as the gradual breaking down or disintegration of rocks in situ by either physical or mechanical or chemical processes. If I may write it on the board, I'll write it on the board. We say that weathering can be defined as the gradual breaking down or disintegration of rocks. This situ means in a particular place or position, it does not move. And we observe that rocks or material that we have on the surface of the earth, they are stationary, they are there. So that's what we mean by this word situ, by either physical or mechanical or chemical process. That will now take us to the next stage of our analysis of the term weathering. We'll now go to the word, now go to factors affecting weathering. And we have four factors influencing or affecting weathering. The first one that we have climate. Two, we have nature of rocks. We have relief, and we also have biotic factors. These factors go a long way in shaping the shape and landforms on the Earth surface. And we are going to take each of these factors systematically. The first one, we'll take a look at climate. Climate is very important in the weathering of rock. Climatic elements like rainfall, like temperature, influences physical weathering or mechanical weathering. Then we also know that water and other gases result in chemical weathering in breaking down rocks. Then we now take a look at nature of rocks. Different rocks are made up of different elements and also depending on their resistance. For example, permeable rock, the one we call hard rock, are more resistant to weathering than soft rock. Soft rock like a clay, limestone are easily disintegrated by weathering processes. We now go to relief. When we are talking about relief, we are talking about the shape of the land or the shape of that particular area. Weathering is very prominent in areas that are mountainous or on steep slope. On steel slope, we have the major elements that affect wedge relief on the steep slope is that on a very steep slope, physical weathering are very common. An example of physical weathering is what? Frost action. While on this gentle slope, chemical weathering are prominent. Then we now take a look at biotic factors. When we are talking about biotic factors, we are talking about living organisms. Living organisms like plants, like animals. We are aware that plants, animals do a lot of damages to the environment. For example, man, through his various activities, such as farming, such as lumbering, such as mining, such as construction of roads and houses, destroy the soil or the rocks that we have. Then we are also told that animals, such as rats and ants, burrow into the soil. And in the attempt of burrowing into the soil, they destroy the original nature of the earth. Then we now go to the next stage of our analysis of weathering processes. We now come to processes of weathering, processes or types of weathering. Under process of weathering, we have two major processes or types of weathering. We have physical or mechanical weathering. Then we have chemical weathering. And these two processes are going to be analyzed in a systematic way. Then let us take the first one, physical weathering. What is physical weathering? Physical weathering is what? Is the breaking down of rock physically without changes in their chemical content. So when you observe the rock being gradually disintegrating or decaying or decomposing, what is taking place? Physical weathering or mechanical weathering is taking place. And this physical weathering have what? 4 processes. And the 4 processes are mechanical or physical weathering are frost action, repeated temperature changes, repeated wetting and drying. Then the last one, activities of living organisms. These are the 4 processes of what? Of mechanical or physical weathering. If I've been saying again, physical or mechanical weathering is the physical breaking down of rock into particles. And the 4 processes of mechanical weathering are frost action, repeated temperature changes, repeated wetting and drying, and also activities of living organisms. And we are going to be taking them one after the other. The first one, we'll take a look at frost action. Where does frost action occur? What are the processes? And what are the results of frost action? Frost action occurs in temperate regions of the world. In temperate regions of the world, such as Asia, Europe, America. In this part of the world, we all know that the temperature are moderate. We all know that the temperatures are moderate. We all know that the temperatures are moderate. Occurs in temperate regions of the world. And this happens in mountains that have joints or cracks. These mountains with joints or cracks collect water are gathered in them. If I will use a diagram to explain my explanation. We are going to use two diagrams to explain frost action. As I said frost action occurs in temperate regions of the world, where mountains, the cavities or the cracks in mountain are what collect water, or water are stored in them. This water that are stored, this is our water now. This water that are what hold up by these cracks or gravity. As temperature falls, or during winter, this water freezes. And we are told that when water freezes, they increase by 1/10. They increase by 1/10 their volume. And as they increase by 1/10 their volume, what happens? Pressure will be exerted on this and the underlying layers. And this expansion now may what? The cracking of these cracks, or the breaking of this crack into smaller fragments. This process that has taken place is what occurs in temperate regions of the world. Then the next one we are going to discuss is what? Repeated temperature changes. Repeated temperature changes. The repeated temperature changes occurs in arid regions of the world. In arid regions of the world. And when we are talking about arid regions of the world, we are talking about desert regions of the world, where temperature is extremely high. And we are told that in this region of the world, that rocks are exposed to the blazing sunshine during the day. And this sunshine that is what? Eating the sun during the day, lead to what? Expansion of the outer layer of the rocks. And in the night, what happens? Temperature drops in temperate regions of the world. And when temperature drops in the temperate regions of the world, there is contraction. This continuous expansion and contraction of the outer layer of the rock result what? In the peeling off of the rock. And we are told that the process of this peeling off into small fragments is what is called exfoliation. It's called exfoliation. The process of the peeling off is what is called exfoliation. And these exfoliation processes result in the breaking up of the rock into smaller fragments called screen or talus. We said the process resulting in the breaking up of rock in what the repeated temperature changes is called exfoliation. And this exfoliation results what? In the breaking up of rock into smaller fragments. Then we now take the next one, repeated wetting and drying. Exfoliation as a result of the peeling off of the rock. And this peeling off of the rock results what? Into what? In smaller fragments. These smaller fragments are called screen or talus. And we said the result of exfoliation is what? Talus or screen in desert regions of the world. Then we'll now take a look at repeated wetting and drying. Where does it occur? In which part of the world do we experience this phenomenon? And these processes occurs in humid regions of the world, where there is wet and dry season. And it occurs in this area, for example, Nigeria, where rain falls. When rain falls, the rock absorbs this rain, and expand in sizes. After a short while, sun started shining. And when the sun shines, what happens? This water that has been absorbed in the rock will now shrink. This continuous expansion and shrinking of the rock result in what? In the breaking down of rock into smaller particles. Then we'll take a look at activities of living organisms as a process of mechanical or physical weathering. Activities, when we talk about activities of living things, we talk about the activities of man and what is shaping the earth's surface through its various forms, such as mining, such as farming, such as lumbering, such as construction of houses, which break up the earth's surface into smaller particles. Then plants, with their roots, go into the earth and what? And also break up the rocks. Animals such as ants and rabbits and rats burrow into the soil and destroy the structure of the earth. We now go to the next processes of weathering, which is what? Chemical weathering. Chemical weathering. What is chemical weathering? We are told that chemical weathering is what? Is the altering in the mineral content of rocks as a result of exposure to either water or gaseous elements. And the process of chemical weathering are solution, oxidation, carbonation, hydration, and hydrolysis. And we are going to take a look at them, each of them one after the other. Solution. What is solution as a process of chemical weathering? Rainwater is a universal solvent. This rainwater attacks rocks and result into what? Solution. The resultant into solution result in what? In cracks and joints of rock. Most especially rocks that are limestone. And in that process, calcium carbonate is liberated from what? From limestone. And the rock will result in what? The breaking up of rock, of that rock into smaller fragments. They will now take a look at oxidation. Oxygen or the air or water react with minerals in rocks. And as they react with minerals in rock, they result in the changes in the chemical composition of the rock. For example, mostly rock that contains iron. When this oxide combined with the iron, it results into what? In iron oxide, which we have known that is very, very weak. And with time, the rock will break up into smaller fragments or particles. We'll now take a look at the carbonation. What is carbonation? Atmospheric carbon dioxide mixes up with what? Rainwater to form a weak acid. This weak acid attacks rocks that are rich in carbonate. And as they attack rocks that are rich in carbonate, the rocks that are rich in carbonate, the composition of that rock, the mineral content of that rock is changed. For example, calcium carbonate, as a result of exposure to the process of carbonation, is changed to what? Calcium bicarbonate. Then we also take a look at what? Hydration. What is hydration? Hydration simply means a process whereby rock absorbs water and changes their mineral content. As they change their mineral content, the rock's structure is changed. Thereby, calcium or rock salt or calcium sulfate are changed to what? To gypsum. And gypsum are less resistant to the forces of weathering. Then we have to look at hydrolysis. Hydrolysis have the same characteristics and process as hydration. The only difference is that in hydrolysis, hydrogen acts as a catalyst and break the rock into different fragments. Viewers or students, we have been taking a look at the various processes of weathering, meaning of weathering, factors of weathering, process of weathering, so on and so forth. Then we now come to some of those pertinent areas in this question as relating to external exams. In external exams, in external exam, these questions always occur for this particular topic, year in, year out, or so on and so forth. And I will write some of the questions on the board so that both of us can discuss these questions that are written on the board. These are some of the likely examination questions that we are going to be discussing, and we are going to need the answers. The first question, an example of physical weathering is. An example of physical weathering is A. Carbonation, B. Exfoliation, C. Hydration, D. Hydrolysis. What are the answers to this question? And as we discussed in our previous lecture, we know that the example of physical welding is what? Exfoliation. And we are told that exfoliation is the process of peeling up of rock into smaller particles. So B is the right answer to that question. Then we now take a look at the second question. Chemical welding can take place most effectively when the conditions are 1. Cold and dry, hot and wet, cold and wet, hot and dry. Chemical welding. So in which conditions can it take place? What we have the word cold and wet condition. That is the answer of this chemical welding. Then we'll now take a look at the last question about it. Said the following are factors that affect welding except nature of rocks, climate, erosion, living organisms. The following are factors influencing welding. He said except. We have talked about nature of rocks, we have talked about climate, and we have talked about living organisms. We now see that the one that is the answer here is what? Erosion. Because erosion is what? Is the wearing away of what? Of the earth surface. So these are 3 questions that are likely to occur in what? In an external examination. So let us go over our topic again, welding. We started with welding can be defined as a gradual breaking down and disintegration of rocks in situ by either physical, mechanical, or chemical process. As I said that welding occurs, that's what we use the word situ, in a particular spot. It's not like erosion that what, where you see movement. Then we now came to that of factors affecting welding. And we said there are 4 factors influencing welding. We talked about climate, talked about nature of rock, talked about relief, and we also discussed living organisms. We now went a step further by taking a look at the processes of welding. And we have 2 main processes of welding. And the 2 main processes of welding are what? Chemical welding and what? And chemical welding and mechanical welding. I said that chemical welding is what? Is the altering of the chemical makeup or the mineral content of the rock. Then we now talk about what? Physical welding. We said physical welding is physical breaking up of rock into smaller particles. Then let us now take a look at the various processes of what? Of physical welding. We said the process of physical welding are frost action, repeated temperature changes, repeated wetting and drying, and also living organisms. And also living organisms. Then we now come to the answers of questions, some basic questions, to give you more knowledge on this topic, welding. Welding as a topic is a very important stages in the work, in the leveling of the Earth's surface. In our subsequent edition of this particular program, we are going to be expatiating on other topics that relate to geography, so that in the end, success will be your goal. Thank you and God bless. As relating to these topics, let us take a look at differences between physical and chemical welding. And the question is, state the difference between physical and chemical welding. What are the differences? Some of the differences are physical welding is the breaking down of rocks in particles, while chemical welding is the changes in the chemical content of rocks. As with our analysis of the subject, I told you that physical welding is the physical breaking down of rocks, while chemical welding is the alteration in the mineral content. We will further look at some of the questions as related to these topics. And one of the questions is state the difference between physical welding and chemical welding. I said physical welding is the breaking down of rocks into particles, while chemical welding are changes in mineral content of rocks. Then 2, mechanical, can either call it mechanical welding or physical welding. Mechanical or physical welding occurs on the outer layer or surface while chemical weathering takes place in the inner layer. Then the last question, I would say, water and gases induce chemical weathering, while water and temperature causes physical weathering. Water and gases induce chemical weathering, while water and temperature cause physical weathering. With this of the topic weathering, I believe students should have a better idea of the topic weathering. That when writing an examination, they will be able to write on weathering and be able to score a good grade. Thank you and God bless.